If you don't get NordVPN.com/Fightful, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to find out about your big life events, and I'm going to break the news. I'm going to scoop you. But if you do get NordVPN.com/Fightful, you can change your virtual location with just one click. I won't be able to do that. I mean, honestly, I'm probably not going to anyway because I'm too busy watching all the great content that I have access to thanks to NordVPN.com/Fightful. But I might threaten it for the sake of this read. And you don't want that, do you? I don't want to spend my time doing that, but you're going to force me into it. 4 months free, 30-day money-back guarantee, block online trackers, block malware, block annoying pop-up ads on all your devices. They've got 3 great tiers: Pass, a locker, a VPN. You can watch all your favorite shows abroad, get pay-per-views at a much more affordable price with NordVPN.com/Fightful. What's up, you guys? Sean Ross Sapp, Fightful here with a name you know. You've seen him everywhere. You've seen him on ROH. You've seen him in AEW. Now you're seeing him right here on Fightful. Again, we got Vinny Pacifico. How you doing, man?
Doing great. Thank you for having me. Feel great today. Beautiful day out.
It's been a long time coming. We've planned this for a few weeks now. We finally got together on a good time. How you feeling? How you doing? I mean, always traveling, always doing something, it seems like.
Yeah, I love it. I'm very blessed. I'm very grateful for every opportunity I've been given lately. This bang sponsorship was a really big one for me in more ways than just the bang. It was like help with wrestling as well. And that right there, I've been getting all these emails to do more promos for them. They want more promos. They want more hype about it. So I'm like, all right, you got it, because whatever I'm doing is working. I'm selling some really good stuff for them, so they want more. So
that's
awesome.
Keep
up with that.
I mean, that's always fascinating, especially for a wrestler on the independent circuit, like where there's not necessarily the global or national exposure, even though you've been on those shows. So I mean, that is a big deal for somebody in your position.
Yeah, and how it happened was just crazy. You know the story or no?
I mean, I'd love for our audience to hear it.
Awesome. So I had a match in Oregon for DOA. It's on IWTV. And the promoter said, hey, I have an idea. This crowd here loves character stuff. I'm like, oh, cool. And I was like, all right, so let me just do this. I never did it before. I wanted to save this for the right moment, so I did. And so in the match, we did these spots, whatever, double down. I had my drink in the corner of the ring. I crawled over to it. I did the very dramatic, crawl over, grabbed it, drank it, and did the Popeye hook up and hit a whole comeback on the guy. And it went semi-viral on Instagram and Twitter. 3 days later, I got hit up by Bang. Every company that I hit up before, I never hit up Bang. I hit up Monster and Red Bull. They were not really interested in the wrestling scene of getting to, you know what I mean?
Monster said the same thing to us when we hit him up for a sponsorship too. I was like,
Who'd you hit up?
Monster, and it was years ago. It was like 2016, 2017, and they're like, we don't know if we're gonna get into that realm, and I was like, you really should.
Same thing to me. They're like, oh, we would do this stuff and try Bang.
Yeah.
Mention me if you want. I don't care. They're great. They've been awesome to me. And yeah, they emailed me 3 days later, and that was it. They were like, hey, we want to give you a contract exclusively because you can't. So they don't want me pretty much having any other company holding anything else but Bang on my videos, which is cool, whatever. And that was it. Signed up with them, got the graphic, and that's it.
That is why. I mean, and you mentioned they want you to film more videos and stuff like that. I see you incorporate it into other promos too. Even like when the other wrestlers are like, I don't like this stuff. Like there's still integration in there. How do you decide like what you will do, what you won't do, what is okay in the name of entertainment, and then what like wouldn't be okay? Because there are some sponsors that are like no negative anything implying towards our product. So,
I love these promos because they give chances for my character to grow and other characters to grow as well. With these go over on Twitter, so people see them, and I believe it's doing good business, helping out characters grow. Create fun content that's free, and just I think it's all positive. they don't want anything negative towards like, oh, that's disgusting, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I kind of tell them like, yo, if you can, just don't say it's gross. But other than that, like, they're cool with anything. I try not to um do certain like the cursing if they curse about it. I don't want any of that. That's obviously they don't want that. But in the promos, I try to have their character be as much as them as possible, how much they want it to be. Just please don't like say it's gross or whatever. Just for my sake of the contract.
Of course. I'm always interested in stories about how people got booked certain places, and I'm sure there's plenty of stories like that with you because you popped up everywhere. You were in AEW during a very surreal, unusual era where there's no fan. I mean, I remember you facing Wardlow. It's like you're coming out, you're posing, they pan out, and there ain't a person in the stands. It's quiet. Like, it's so surreal to look back now because you don't see footage of that era a lot, too. Like, people try to put it behind them. How did you get booked for those initial AEW appearances?
For that first one, during COVID, it was a crazy time. I'll just say it. I had 2 other bookings down in Orlando. Due to COVID, they got canceled.
Yeah.
So, and I let AEW know I was going to be there also during that week. Because I have to be down there anyway, just letting you know, whatever. But I had a bunch of things going down there anyway. Driving down, brought my fiance with me. We're going down to, we had Universal tickets too. I love Universal.
Yeah.
So we had that all going down. I said, you know what? We're getting ready to leave. I got an email saying, oh, these 2 shows I already had got canceled due to COVID. I was like, oh my God, this killed me mentally. But I'm like, screw it. It's vacation. Let's have a good time. Let's go down there and make the most of it. I always believe make the most of anything, We drove down to Florida. I was in, again, I let AW know prior. I'm currently in Ollivander's buying a wand at Universal. And I got an email from AEW, be here Wednesday, you need a negative COVID test. And that was it. And
that's awesome. That's how it happened with Crowbar, too. Crowbar was on vacation, I think at Universal or Disney, and he got an email that said, Joey Janela wants to work with you. And he said, well, that's handy.
That's great. I love that. That's amazing. It's mood changing, And I wasn't a Harry Potter fan then. So I was like, oh, my God. My fiance is a big fan, so like we were there. We're like, oh, this is okay, whatever. And then I'm getting butterbeer, or she's getting butterbeer. And I got the text, and I'm like, oh my God! And I go back with a big smile on my face, and she's like, why are you so happy? She got booked. So
cheers with the butterbeer.
Yeah, right. With Orlando to Jacksonville, got an Airbnb there. Gorgeous, big pool. So I wanted to make sure it was good for both of us, because I'm getting these opportunity. I wanted to reward her with like, okay, I got this Airbnb for us. You can have a pool to lay out at while I'm gone, and it was just a really cool opportunity. And again, I love the locker room of AEW. I'm sure you hear about it all the time how great it is. It's special. It really, and I working for Ring of Honor in the past, a lot of people I know are there now, and it's just that locker room hits every time, the best.
I love hearing that. I shared sort of your experience with Universal because that my wife wanted to go there really bad. She was a huge Harry Potter fan. I'm not a Harry Potter guy, and I didn't understand it. But then we hit the Simpsons area of it, and I hadn't watched The Simpsons in 15 years, but I grew up watching it. And then when I hit that, I was like, okay, I get it now. I understand. Like, I see the allure because I'm geeking out over this. I'm like, hell yeah, I'll drink this cherry cola that says it's Buzz Cola. I want to eat a Krusty Burger. I was like, okay, I'm sold. And
you get it. You learn.
Yeah. Yeah.
How far are you from Universal?
I would never drive there. I would only fly there just because I'm in Lexington, Kentucky, and that Orlando is one of the only places that Lexington actually flies direct to. So I'm
perfect.
So I got really lucky because the cheap Allegiant flights go there all the time. So yeah, so that's a very easy one. They never cancel those, all that. But you also made a couple of appearances on AEW earlier this year. So, I mean, there was some time in between those, but you're working Powerhouse Hobbs, you're working Parker. How did those come about?
So the first one was special to me, Powerhouse, because it's rough to say. 'Cause I don't think I mentioned this in a podcast yet, but my mother-in-law, or future mother-in-law, was in the hospital from Thanksgiving. She passed away January 1st, and the whole time she was there, I'm like, I'm gonna go. I got booked for AEW, and I told her like, hey, I got booked. I'm gonna go out to Washington, and I want to make her proud, because she was in the hospital for a month and a half at the time. So I wanted her to know, like, I'm going out there. I'm gonna do my best for you and the family, and just, be the best me possible for you guys, and hopefully something happens. And 3 days before I flew out to Seattle, she passed away, and it was so rough. It was rough, but I put on my wrist tape, her initials, and I just made the most of the opportunity, and I dedicated it to her. It was rough, but it was awesome. Like getting to see Matt Taven again, people who I known for a while. It was such a cool locker room, and I'm a huge fan of wrestling in the Northwest scene. I love it out there. I say the best fans are out there, and having that, having the AEW Wednesday, Friday, and then DOA Saturday, which is where actually that energy drink spot happened.
Oh, nice.
It was a great week. It was a great week.
I mean, sometimes things are just meant to be, they were. And you've spoken in the past about how Bryan Danielson motivated you to wrestle. Have you been able to say that to him personally, or is it one of those things where you're like, you don't say that when you're backstage?
I had the chance to. I shook his hand in Seattle, and I had the chance to tell him. But I'm sure he gets it a lot from
sure.
wrestlers, So I don't want to bombard him. But
I mean, Matt Riddle. I remember I was talking to Matt Riddle for his last MMA fight, and I was like, have you ever thought about doing pro wrestling? And he's like, nah, not really. And then he told me the next month he watched Daniel Bryan win the WWE title, and he's like, I'm gonna go do this. So yeah. Even people who were famous completely separate of wrestling saw that, and they were like, hell yeah, this is what I want to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was 13 years old, and I was at a meet and greet, and I was just like, I want to wrestle one day. I was playing football. I played football my whole life. I was a huge quarterback for years, and I was like, you know what? I love football, but I want to wrestle. This is what I want to do. I've been a fan of this since I'm a kid. So I went to a meet and greet, and in New York City, and I was like, I want to wrestle. He goes, just go for it. You live your dream. You go. And I was like, holy shit. He told me this, and I was like, let's just go. And 2 weeks after that, my birthday came, I think. I ordered myself a replica WWE belt.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm keeping this.
You're good.
I'm holding this. This is goals for me. And that's out of wrestling. I went to a school, started training, and that's how it started. And I'm so happy that's how it started, because Brian's the best. To me, nobody compares.
Love it. What does the name Adam Harding mean to you?
That was a surprise.
Was it? I was gonna ask. For those of you who don't know, that was his name when he appeared on NXT to take on Joe Gacy. So it was a surprise when you got there, or a surprise when you got on screen?
Surprise when a week later. I didn't know for a week. I had the match. It was that experience was incredible. By the way, I just wanted to note that. I love William Regal.
Yeah.
And any chance learning from him is just bar none the best. His mind for wrestling is incredible. And all day there at that NXT, I learned. People were just spreading knowledge without even trying to spread knowledge. And so the week after, I'm at the gym and I'm working out, whatever. I get a Twitter message notification. Adam Harding, and I'm like, what's this? And I looked at it, and I was like, oh shit, this is pretty interesting, And that's I didn't know it was Adam Harding until a week later.
So how did you end up making your way there? Because I mean, one of the things that I like about your appearances for a lot of these places, they're all over the map, geographically.
It's crazy.
It might be in Seattle, it might be in Orlando, it might be in Jacksonville. You're taking these opportunities every single place. I mean, MLW in Philly, even they're all over the place.
I love it. I love traveling too. It's just I love seeing the world. I love seeing beautiful places. But how that happened? I got booked down there. I went down the day before, hung out, we went to the gym with EC3. He put me through his leg day.
Love EC3.
And I'm like, leg day before NXT, you know? I got a text from a promoter that morning, and no one knows the story. And he says, hey, kill tonight. I know you can do great. And I was like, what do you mean? So I wasn't told I'm wrestling until I got there.
Yeah.
But someone told him he knew. And I was like, oh, shit, this is awesome. And I got there. They called my name, and that was it. And it was just really, really cool. And I love Orlando. So being down there already, like, it just made it all worth it. You know, going leg day with EC3, like I said, leg day with him is one of the craziest experiences I've ever had in my life. I'm sure you know.
I've heard. I will never experience one of those, but I've heard plenty. I mean, look at the guy's toes. He's done some damage. Have you ever?
Yeah.
Oh my God, they're brutal. They're brutal. That's from whatever the hell it is he's been doing. EC3 toes, they call him.
They call him, right?
They call him EC3 toes.
Oh my God, that's great.
And I mentioned these opportunities being all over the map. There was a point where I was thinking that we were going to see you prominently featured on ROH because you had a series of matches a few years ago. And again, I think Texas, Maryland, Florida, all over the place, you were working stuff for ROH. How did that come about, and what did you think? Because you were picking up some wins there in dark matches, too.
Yeah, I was like 7-0 at one point, I was thinking, like, or something like that. I was counting. So I was trained by them for a while. I trained at Ring of Honor Dojo for a while. They moved their dojo from Ring of Honor to Baltimore, as you know, I'm sure. And that dojo was separate. They wanted to make everything separate. It's like, oh shit, okay, you know, I'll go. So they had me try out at that new dojo, and I did, and I really, I'm not bragging, but I thrive well in high pressure moments, and I probably have my best match, one of my best matches I ever had at that tryout. And that was it. And then they like, hey, we loved it. You did great. You know, you did what we know you could do. And it went from there. And then I went to a show a month later in Baltimore for Ring of Honor. And they're like, yo, I was like 18 at the time, I think. And they're like, Vinny, you're wrestling tonight. And I'm like, wait, what? Sorry. And I was like, awesome. And I was like, no way. And they're like, yeah, go get your gear. Got my gear. And that was that. That's how it started. And then the next time I wrestled for them was I think I had Texas, 3 shows in Texas, and then one in Miami. The one in Miami I didn't know about until Twitter. Someone posted, oh, tonight I'm wrestling Vinny Pacifico at Ring of Honor, and I'm like, oh shit, and that's how that happened. And it was just, I love Ring of Honor. Like like I said, the locker room, Brody King, Cheeseburger, Rhett.
Oh, CB is. I think CB is one of the most underrated talent in wrestling. I think he's a great technical wrestler. I think that if somebody hired him, he could double as a trainer or producer or something like that as well. Like he's a great coach. I think he's a brilliant wrestling mind. He's somebody that everybody should want in their locker room.
Oh, totally. I'm so grateful he trained me. Like helped train me. You know, a big part of my training. You know, we've had matches together. Every time it gets better each time. He is so incredible and one of the smoothest you'll ever wrestle. Like.
Yeah, I
noticed like wrestling against him, he is so smooth, it's insane. But yeah, his mind for wrestling. He also told me this morning. I called him before. He says he loves interviewing with you. Like he says you're the best person to interview with.
Oh, I love that guy. I mean, and then when I got to talk to him directly, I wasn't completely familiar with him on an interpersonal level, and then I would hear him talk about wrestling, and there are a few people like that, like Steve Macklin was another one that I listened to, and I was like, this person's going to be involved with wrestling for the rest of their life. Like, they're going to be molding people forever as a result of this. Anthony Green was another one that I talked to, and I was like, if he got hired at like 29 years old as a producer, it wouldn't shock me at all, because you see the way that they break down what it is they do and how other people do it as well. Yeah, it's really, really brilliant. Who have you wrestled that sort of gave you light bulb moments that, like, maybe multiple times during a match you're like, that's how this works?
Yep. Oh my God, great question. That, like he said before, you asked great questions. Amazing question. Rocky Romero is one of them.
God.
That match, probably the favorite match I've had in my career. Rocky Romero. Yeah. EC3 is one of them as well. We've had 2 matches, and both times in the matches, I was like, damn, this is like, he's very character driven, very
Yes.
psychology, character driven. Less with the move stuff. And I was like, shit, like we made things happen without having to do crazy shit, and it was like really cool. Matt Seidel's another one who he's on another level. He is so good. Just his ability, like I love doing cool shit, but he does shit that's like the coolest you'll ever see. Like he does
Yeah.
this moonsault where he backflips and then like spin like corkscrews on the way down, and I'm sitting there taking that move, and I'm like, holy shit, this guy is freaking phenomenal, And so acrobatic, but no, he's incredible also. Like I had opportunities to wrestle great people, and yeah, Rocky Romero, that match we had was just all light bulbs for me. Everything we did that match, everything clicked for me in that match. Every moment we had also just like worked. He was also somebody who was very into my power punch gimmick that was brand new at the time. So he was like, "Oh, how about you have the drink during the match?" I was like, "Oh, well, I don't really know if I want to do that yet." Like I wasn't sure in my head if I wanted to have the drink involved yet. I wanted to save that and wait for that, or maybe evolve the gimmick more. But he's like, no, just do it. Like, screw it, let's do it. So I did it. And he had me in an abdominal stretch. I got the drink somehow, drank it, reversed it, hip toss. And I was like, this is fun.
I love it.
He's great.
I love it. I always like to ask, are there certain moves that, one, just absolutely freak you out, and ones that you look at and you're like, man, that was easier than I thought? Personally, for me, I hated taking back body drops. The risk wasn't worth the reward. Triple H was asked this, and he said, you'll almost never see me do the spot where I go between the second and third ropes into the ring post. He said he couldn't do it right. Like, you just never know what moves. Like, some people are like, not for me. And then there are some moves that I'm sure that people are like, that's difficult. But you pick up and you're like, no, not really.
I'm going to answer this. I don't like that. I don't like back body drops either.
Sure.
They're weird,
Yeah.
Sometimes, like,
if I could do one like AJ Styles takes one, I would take one every day where he just free falls and nothing ever hurts him. It just never, it never worked for me.
Yeah. I had one guy, like, this was like years ago, but I'll never forget it. He launched me into like the turnbuckle. And I was like, oh my God. Alabama slams.
Oh gosh.
Those suck.
So there's no way to protect yourself. Your head's gonna bounce off the mat.
Whiplash. I remember taking one. I don't remember what match it was. This is years ago. I took a reverse one.
Oh.
And I remember in my head, I'm like, this is taking a long time. And then before knowing it was happening, my face smacked the mat. You have no idea. Like, you have no idea from like hitting back and then swinging up, and like how you have no idea like when bump's coming. So
we saw Madcap Moss land on the top of his head doing one of those with Drew, like the reverse as well. Yeah,
it's rough. Those are rough things to take. I like Canadian Destroyers. I know like some people don't like them. I think they're fun to do, and they always get a reaction.
Yeah,
so I save that for like when it's needed or when it's better. But like they're always fun to do. Running, popping, doing it. Smiley, Lucha Smiley, he's a very, very good base for every wrestling move there is. So, like, when I wrestle him, I just know we're going to have a ball. He'll take any move I do. Like, I do like, corkscrew DDT, like, what was it? Tilt-a-whirl pop-up DDT or tilt-a-whirl pop-up. It was a tilt-a-whirl pop-up crucifix driver.
Okay.
And it was just like, bread, like I was buttering bread. That's how easy it was. He's incredible. He's incredible talent. And somebody I think's underrated, by the way, Smiley.
What's the hardest you've ever been hit in the ring?
Is this like a chop or like a knockout?
Either or. Why not both, I say.
Who chopped me the hardest? I think Sho from New Japan. He gave me a chop, and I saw white. And then I had I forgot who this was. The guy, I got concussed. He gave me a gut kick. I bent down, and he did like a Pele kick. Like he back bumped and kicked up. And I remember. Do you ever play baseball?
Yeah.
You ever hit a ball with the bat and you hear like the sound like it makes?
The crack, yeah, crack of the bat.
That's how it sounded on my head.
Ooh.
So I remember that. I remember hearing that like boom, that thing, and then I remember like blacking out for a second, and I remember waking up, seeing the arena, like the ceiling, and remembering where I was. Yeah, so that was rough, and I was bleeding too all over the place. So those are probably the 2 times I hit the hardest.
My God.
Yeah.
That is, I mean, and that's the unfortunate risk that you run in pro wrestling. But I mean, like, what kind of measures do you take, if any, like during training? Because I mean, even in training, stuff like that happens. Like there was a video Chris Bay posted years ago where he hopped second rope, top rope, and it's just snapped. There's no way you can prepare for that.
You can't. It's that guy's okay from that. That was scary.
Oh yeah.
I go hard in training because I just believe you practice how you perform. So I go hard. But I also know, like, if I'm having, like, a string of 4 matches over a weekend or 3, I know, like, okay, let me not do, like, a million bumps because I don't want to, like, destroy my back. You know? I also base my matches – my training in the gym on my matches I'm having. So, for example, I like doing this. If there's somebody I wrestle who's very active and very, like run spots.
Yes.
I'll watch their match and run when they're running, and then walk when they're slower in the ring. So my cardio is, yes, it's weird, but I always felt like doing that. Also, not sure if you know this, Sean. There's a machine called the Curve. Have you heard of it?
Mm-mm.
It's a treadmill, but it's on a curve, slope.
Okay. Yeah.
I have no choice but to run.
Oh wow!
Because you're on a slope, so if you go slow, you're gonna fall. So you have to run. That's the best thing I've ever done with cardio in my life. My cardio skyrockets doing that.
That's brilliant. So like, is that something like you buy buy one-on-one, or is it at a specific gym or specialty gyms?
This is a training facility for sport players.
Okay.
In Jersey, over the bridge, and they had that there. It's for like NFL players, and they had like a list of all the walls of all the NFL players of who did it and like who's really good at it and stuff. That was a tough thing, but like I like doing that because it makes it puts your brain in fight or flight moment.
Of course.
Where like you have no choice but to run, so your cardio has to get better. So that's like a really good machine. Little secret. Yeah.
Saw you've been working some Black Label Pro recently. I showed up there. Yeah, I sure did. I was gonna ask for some advice from you. Like I have decided to just whip Shazam McKenzie's ass all year long. Like anytime I see her, like I think.
Will you match?
I don't know. Maybe I haven't decided yet. What advice would you give me? I already snuck in. I surprised her and hit her with a DDT, which Gangrel said was good, by the way. But what advice? What advice would you have? Like, what other ways can I sneak up on her and viciously attack this very large, intimidating woman?
Well, I know that she's having trouble driving right now.
She sure is.
If you do plan a match, find a way for her not to get her license so that she'll lose by count out.
That's a good idea. That is actually a very good idea. I thought about camping out at the Australia-America border, which I'm sure is very easy to find. Probably very easy to find, to just intercept her while she's, I don't know, bringing her kangaroo over or whatever it is that she does. Like, I just assume she's smuggling items into America.
There's a lot you can do with this. Are you going to be at Black Label in July?
Probably not. I don't know. It depends on, how much she annoys me at any given time, whether or not. But I mean, she is an American now, which is very unfortunate for everybody, but
especially that's crazy. That's heavy passion for like wrestling,
Not for long. I'll make sure to ruin that for her, just as I do everyone.
More DDTs.
There you go. I might have to vary up my offense a little bit, but man, just the roar of that crowd. They were raging. They just couldn't get enough of it. They were so excited after sitting at that convention for 7 hours. 7 hours. I was so excited. But one more place I wanted to ask you about. Major League Wrestling, you popped up there too, as if you hadn't shown up. at enough different places over the last few years. MLW was one recently. How did that come about?
Oh my God. I'll tell you this one. This is a fun story. I got emailed Wednesday to be there Sunday. And I was like, okay, I have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 4 days or 5 days to get in best shape of my life. Or like get better shape. I was in good shape, but I said, you know what? I want to get really lean for this. So I dropped like 13 pounds in those 4 days somehow with cardio and like dieting so hard. And I did it. And yeah, I was very happy with that match. Happy with the locker room. Because the locker room, again, has guys from Ring of Honor there. So like everyone I've known from back in the day is like, it's always good seeing them,
Yeah.
Delirious. Delirious is he's amazing. He is incredible. He's a great mind. No, so so that was a really cool moment for me, being there in 2000 Arena. Love it out there. But yeah, I was very pleased with how quick I was able to get my body in the best shape possible within 4 days. Yeah, I wanted to get for that appearance alone. I wanted to be super lean, and I did. And funny enough, it was the day after Halloween or before, day before Halloween. So I did not have any Halloween candy.
Oh no.
No, none. At a Halloween party, I had a show the day before. After the show, went home, got my fiance, went to a Halloween party with her friends, and they had everything. They had like this giant ghost cake, candy corn, which I love candy corn. Sorry, fans who are there. Yeah. And I didn't have a single piece of candy. So I'm gonna do this the right way. Had the next day MLW, and it went great. And I'm very pleased with how it went.
You're out here posting those peanut butter cups too. Oh,
I love pissing the fans off. I was thinking of getting a candy corn styled gear, like the colors.
Oh, that's,
I was like, you know what?
That's brutal. That's brutal. Yeah. That is so brutal. I will say, you had posted those ice cream sandwiches recently, and I was like,
oh my word.
And listen, hypothetically speaking, if I were to have a match this year, I might be trying to watch what I'm eating, and that I was like, fuck, where can I find those?
Yeah.
God, brutal.
I don't know where you can find them. I just saw them online. I was like, all right, these got to be on Twitter. Entenmann's. Those are a freaking powerhouse of a
it's brutal, man. Tell the people where they can follow you, where they can contact you for bookings, any number of those things.
So, bookings is bookvinnypacifico@gmail.com. Facebook, Vinny Pacifico. Twitter, Vinny Pacifico1. And Instagram, just Vinny Pacifico. No. Instagram, Vinny Pacifico, not just.
We're gonna do this again for sure. We love talking to you, especially the B team at Fightful. They were bragging about getting to talk to you, Jeremy. Listen, he got a promotion. He's acting all brand new now.
He up last night. I was like, "What does this promotion entail?" And he was telling me about it. I'm like, "Yo, I like Jeremy. I like him a lot. He's great. So I'm glad for him. I really am."
He's good. He's the best headline writer in the game and works very, very hard and spoke very highly of you as well. But I don't know if that's a ringing endorsement. I don't know if you want Jeremy. We did a WWE mock draft one time, and he immediately selected R-Truth. And
that's great.
Oh, man. But Vinny Pacifico, it's been awesome. We're going to do this again for sure. Guys,
thanks for having me.
Until next time, we're out.